Corn dog, the name of the play. I loved your reaction, Peter, too. You thought Andy Reid was messing with you, taking the liberty of just having won the Super Bowl to mess with you and just make up the name of the play as something other than it was. But it was Corn dog. That was great. That was great. And again, we talked about this earlier. When that play happened, when Kadarius Toney does the 180 and he's wide open, when Darius Slay's going to the other side and doesn't notice that he turned around, that was the play. That was the moment that gave the Chiefs the lead with the extra point, which was hardly automatic after Butker missed the 42-yard field goal. But still, they took the lead, and that was the play. And then they did something like it, sort of, on the other side of the field on the next drive. So tell us more about Corn dog, how it came to be, and why it worked so well in that moment.
Well, a little bit of inside football, inside baseball, whatever. I knew that after this game, that one of the things I really wanted to do, because look, there were 6,000 media people at this game. Everybody's going to write stuff. Everybody's going to be talking to stuff. I think if Kansas City won, I had a chance, because I've known Andy Reid since 1995, to find out some really good inside stuff about why whatever happened. So I had planted the seed with him a couple of weeks ago after the AFC Championship game. Hey, listen, if there's one play in this game that wins the game and you win the game, I want to know what it is. Now, he didn't guarantee me anything, didn't assure me anything, but if you saw that whole video that our video extraordinaire person, Annie Koblitz, shot, first of all, I have to explain to you, we were in less of an office than a cubicle, okay? Andy Reid's grandson, Maverick, was in there, and Andy Reid's agent, Bob Lamont, was in there. So I sat there right across from Andy, and Annie Koblitz, to get this video, had to scrunch herself into a tiny person in a corner and put the camera on us. And so anyway, at first, Andy did not want to tell me the name of the play. He wanted to save that. And I just said to him, hey, look, NFL Films is going to have this everywhere by midweek. So, you should just tell me. And so anyway, he said, okay, I'm going to tell you. It's Corn dog. But I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion, this thing works so well. That no matter how much the Eagles scouted Kansas City during the course of the year, there was only one play that they could have seen. As Andy Reid told me, he said, we only ran the jet motion and then reverse jet motion one time in over 1,200 snaps all season. Okay, so here it is. They only ran it one time. And look, it sort of worked, but it certainly didn't work as well as it did in the Super Bowl. And my thanks to our great staff at PFT for finding that play. But that's the only time they ran it. It was in the first game of the season on the exact same field that it actually happened again. And Mike, I want to fast forward just a little bit now and tell you one thing about the Sky Moore play, all right, which is incredible to me. On the Sky Moore play, the tight end, Travis Kelce, lined up on the wrong side of the field. He lined up to the right, not to the left. And so what happened on the Sky Moore play is that Patrick Mahomes had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do without the protection of Travis Kelce on the left side of the field? There was no one to sort of act as a rub route or a screen for Sky Moore. And so Mahomes just gambled, quite honestly, that he wasn't going to motion Travis Kelce over to that side to draw more attention to that side. He said, I am just going to hope that they don't come back and cover Sky Moore. And that's exactly what happened on the play.
And it's amazing, too, Peter, because I have been heaping copious amounts of praise on Patrick Mahomes in the aftermath of the game. I've said that I would take Patrick Mahomes right now over any quarterback in the history of the sport at his best. I would take Mahomes. And one of the pushbacks is, I could throw the wide open touchdowns that he threw, but it's not just the throw, it's the circumstance where, as you explained in Football Morning in America, that was an option run or pass. He had to recognize the pass was going to work. He had to recognize Darius Slay wasn't paying enough attention to Kadarius Toney when Toney spun back around to go with the pass. It's a split-second decision you have to make. He had to make the decision on the Sky Moore play to go ahead and follow through. He could have called a timeout. He could have aborted. He could have done something other than just say, screw it, I'm going to make this work. So that's part of his greatness. He's got a confidence that he's going to figure it out, that he's going to think his way through it before he throws that simple little pass. It's not just the throw. There's other things that go into it, and Mahomes is proving that he has that. Okay, so which play will be remembered most in Chiefs lore? We go back to 65 toss power trap from Super Bowl IV, jet chip wasp from Super Bowl 54, or corn dog from Super Bowl 57. Which one stands out the most to you, Peter?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I think because in the case of corn dog, I think the last two are going to be remembered far more than 65 toss power trap, because the play against San Francisco was an absolute desperation play on 3rd and 15. And so if they don't make that play, there's a very good chance they lose this game. And what made this play so great is that Patrick Mahomes came to the sideline and told Eric Bieniemy he wanted to run it, and do we have enough time to run this play? And he became convinced that even if he were under pressure, he'd rather move around in the pocket and risk getting hit and maybe getting in some traffic, because he knew that deep downfield that Tyreek Hill had a very good chance of getting open in between the seams of San Francisco's defense. Here's why I think corn dog might be remembered more than any of them. Because, Mike, if we can run this play one more time, and if we can just talk about why it worked so well, it's the perfect example of Andy Reid and his open-minded coaching staff. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you. Watch what happens with Kadarius Toney when he runs in there and then runs back, and Darius Slade does not go back with him, okay? Andy Reid knew that, okay? He knew, as his coaches knew, that there was a very good chance that Darius Slade was going to try to pass off Kadarius Toney to another member of the secondary. And either Darius Slade didn't pass him off to have somebody else take him, or he simply didn't do it, you know? So I think the reason why I think that's so significant, Mike, there were 793 touchdown passes in the NFL this year. 793. These two touchdown passes were in the bottom 2% of all touchdown passes in the league as far as defensive space around them. Kadarius Toney had 11.2 yards of separation from the nearest Philadelphia defender. Sky Moore had 13.1 yards of separation between him and the nearest Eagles defender, and that is from Next Gen Stats, NFL Next Gen Stats. And of the 793 touchdown passes this year in the NFL, those were in the top 16 or the bottom 16 in terms of the amount of space around a player. In other words, 98% of all other touchdown passes this year were more closely contested than those two. And the reason why I bring that up is that speaks to Andy Reid out-coaching the other team. And that is going to go down, in my opinion, when Andy Reid's coaching epitaph is written, whatever it is, it's going to be written that the final two touchdowns scored in the 2022 football season were scored in Super Bowl 57, orchestrated by Andy Reid and his offensive coaching staff to be two of the most wide open plays all season in the National Football League.
And I go back to last week when we broke down the struggles of the Eagles defense when motion happens. And you would think that that defensive coaching staffs and players would adjust better when guys go in motion. It happens fairly often, but I remember thinking as we were doing this segment, boy, if we know this, the Chiefs surely know it, and the Chiefs are going to be in a position to do something about it, and the Eagles better be working to deal with these issues. And whatever they did, it wasn't enough because, as you said, both guys as open as anyone has gotten all year long, or more open than anyone has gotten all year long. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.